Hi guys, welcome to the PHP of Booker. That's Perez. How you doing, man?
I'm always excited to do. I'm
Take two.
always. No, we're keeping going. I was so excited I couldn't even get the words out. I'm always excited to do this show, to speak to you and to entertain our loyal followers. But I'm even more excited this week because I love a challenge. And I take criticism well. I think it was last week somebody complained that we just kept talking about the same subjects over and over and over again. So you should all know ahead of time that throughout the entirety of today's show, we're talking about a variety of topics and people that we have not discussed in a long time. We're still having to address a little of the Will Smith Oscars drama, so we'll get to that. But we're also talking Doja Cat, Meghan Markle. I know our followers love some Meghan Markle chit chat, and there's drama there. Alec Baldwin, Olivia Rodrigo, Zayn Malik, Kylie Jenner. We talk about her regularly, and more. And also at the very end of today's show, I have an interview with Jason Lee. He's kind of like the urban Perez Hilton. He's got this website and blog and social media called Hollywood Unlocked, and he's done reality television as well. And he's Kanye West's gay bestie. So it's going to be fun to pick his brain, and I have a lot to chat with him about. But first, before I even ask how you are, there we go. I feel better now. I'm really spicing it up today, let me tell you.
He put a headpiece on for our listening audience. I don't know what it is, but
audience.
For our listening audience, they can't see it.
Oh, right. But you didn't really describe
I don't care.
it.
I don't give a damn. I'm sorry. I don't care one bit about you viewing people. It's the listening people I'm here for.
Well, I care about everybody. I went with my kids to Kiss mini golf, and they gave me this, and I kind of love this.
Yeah,
I look like a Who from Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Anyways, how are you?
I'm good. Been busy, been crazy busy lately, but all is good. Yeah, doing well.
All right. I'm going to ask myself how I am. I am still days later smiling and riding high because I went to see Dua Lipa in concert.
Oh, you went to that? I didn't know that.
In Vegas, yeah. And it was one of the best shows I have ever seen.
Really?
And I've been to, I mean, a safe guesstimate, at least 1,000 concerts, if not way more than that, maybe 2,000. One of the best. I won't go into all the reasons why. I made a vlog and a review about that if you really care. I just was blown away. I was so happy I went. It was amazing. And I just had to share that.
Every clip I see, it's her like writhing on the stage like a stripper. I'm like, I would love this show. It just looks like a fantastic show.
But listen, it's not just that. It's also
a lot of that though, right?
Well, it's not just that, but that's part of the stage presence. That's part of the confidence that she's really grown.
Yeah, she has that for sure. And
matured as an adult, as a performer. And she's not pretending to be a pop star. She is. And I love that. But also she was 100% live, giving me amazing vocals, everything.
Wow, cool.
The product, everything. It was amazing. All right. Let's get right to it. But before we get to it, there's been one question that has been nagging me, and I need an answer. What the hell was Shawn Mendes doing at the Academy Awards?
Was he in the crowd?
No, he presented.
Oh, I don't know. You know, they have random people every year. You're like, why's that person there? I'm sure there's some soundtrack he sang on to something.
No, he had no affiliation. If he did, they did not explain it. Usually they would say so-and-so from this film or whatever, but he was just there.
Don't know.
You know, I don't know if you caught this because I guess you didn't really watch closely. You know who else was at the Oscars? A- lister Tony Hawk.
I saw that.
Presenting.
Yes. Still doesn't make him an A-lister. I think that was a room full of C-listers, if you ask me.
Come on.
Come on. No, come on. There were so many people every time I walked into the living room that had won acting awards that I'd never seen in my life. Okay. So, you know what? Maybe he was stepped up a bit because at least I knew who he was in that pack of nobodies.
All right. Well, thank you all for the feedback to our emergency mini-sode. You guys liked that. Maybe we'll do it again in the future. If you enjoyed that, we need you to help us keep growing this, okay? All right, we're putting in the work for you all. Mm-hmm. Since our emergency mini-sode, Will Smith has apologized to Chris Rock. I'm sure you all saw it, but let me just briefly and quickly read what he said. Quote, "Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are a part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I am embarrassed and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness. I would also like to apologize to the Academy, the producers of the show, all the attendees, and everyone watching around the family, blah, 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 around the world." All right. That's wonderful. That's great. However, I don't know if you saw this, but I saw it. After the Oscars on Sunday night, you know what Will Smith did?
He was getting jiggy with it at the Vanity Fair party. Of course I saw what he was doing. I mean, that did not look like a guy that was concerned about what anybody thought or had any sort of remorse whatsoever. Yeah. None. Zero. And, you know, you said one thing. He apologized to Chris Rock. No, he didn't. He apologized to Instagram. When you slap somebody, your hand touches another person's human flesh. That is a face-to-face, man-to-man conversation. So don't give me this. He apologized to him. No, you apologize to Instagram is who you apologize to.
I will be Chris Booker right now and give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe, oh, fucking God damn it. I was not recording, but you know what? We've got the audio.
Yeah, just send me your audio. It's fine. Yeah.
No, I was not recording the audio.
I have my audio, but you have the audio on your end of
on Skype. All right. That's not a huge pain in the butt for you.
It is, but just press record now.
Okay, I'm pressing record now. Okay. I will be Chris Booker right now and give Chris Rock the benefit of give Will Smith the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he reached out privately. Maybe they spoke by the phone or by Zoom or in person.
Someone that does know Chris Rock said that he has not. Who was it? Was it Charlemagne the God? Maybe said that he knows for a fact he spoke with Chris. He has not talked with him, and that was post penned apology, typed apology, if you will. I don't know. I think when you do something so globally, and I mean, this is as Jim Carrey said yesterday. If anybody caught the Jim Carrey clip, which is phenomenal, what he said yesterday. He needs to do something as big, as grand as the situation itself. And posting a couple of words on Instagram, that doesn't do it for me. People have asked, well, what do you want Will Smith to do? And look, this didn't happen to me, but it's an embarrassment to anyone that talks into a microphone, stands behind a camera, that has anything to do with entertainment and entertaining people. It's an embarrassment to his industry, his peers, to everyone. And an Instagram post, to me, I'm not warmed up by it.
Well, I am, just because it lets us move on. Honestly, if that had not happened, I think the story would have still been thriving by now. But I think today, midweek, it's kind of quieted down because we got that apology and we got it quickly. It definitely helped to quell the fervor. And then people moved on. They moved on to
I don't know if people have moved on yet. I think people are still upset about this.
No, they moved on. People moved on to like Zoe Kravitz, who criticized.
I haven't even heard anything about. Zoe Kravitz.
Oh,
So
yeah.
please tell me.
She criticized Will Smith, and then people were bringing up all of these receipts. What's fascinating is, and I don't have an opinion, I'm not giving an opinion, I am just giving an observation, and I understand it. Black Twitter is reflective of a lot of people outside of Twitter. And there is a school of thought that I've observed. It could be an incorrect assessment. There's a lot of Black Americans or people all over the world that think this is Black people's business. You all stay out of our business. And also, there is another sense that I've observed of Will Smith having way more support, for understandably, I guess, from the Black community for what he did, supporting him and not supporting Chris Rock.
Yeah.
And there's also this sense of, if you speak out against Will Smith, we're going to come for you. And that's what Zoe Kravitz did. She spoke out against Will Smith, and Black Twitter, they devoured her, bringing up all these receipts about things that she said in the past and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. Words. This was an assault. These are not words. That's the difference between this and everything else. Black Twitter's wrong. Sorry. This is an assault. There's no other way to see this. And that's what it is.
I think the one person that was most jarring to me was Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah, I saw that.
Defending Will Smith, saying it was the most beautiful thing that she had ever seen. Wouldn't you want your husband to do that for you? She's a comedian.
Yeah, I don't understand that. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and pick a fight with everybody that doesn't agree with me. I'm used to people disagreeing with me or having a difference of opinion. Cool. But I'm not going to waver from mine and say, well, you may have a point. No, you don't. You can't walk up on a stage and slap a human being. Listen, I was thinking, and I think a lot, I've been thinking a lot about this, and that's, I don't know why this is permeating my mind so much, just because it bothers me as a culture.
It was so shocking. It was so,
but as a culture, as a people, it just bothers me that there are so many people that will defend this sort of behavior. It just shows we're not moving in the right direction to me. If Chris Rock would have said, you're in, I don't know, Shrek 2, okay? And Will Smith walked up there and popped him. I wouldn't condone it ever, but at least in my mind, I could kind of get it. I could kind of
say, I don't get it. What does Shrek 2 have to do with anything?
Because he's like ugly. Shrek's supposed to be ugly. Okay. Shrek's supposed to be like it's Beauty and the Beast kind of thing.
I don't even
just follow my thinking here.
All right.
I'm not saying I even think it's correct, but my mind, I could at least process it. I could say, hey, man, you're really talking about my girl there in a real negative light. Okay. I could understand that. And I think it would be easier for me personally to get over it. But to sit there and compare to Demi Moore, a really beautiful lady, and in a dumb movie, it's not a big enough offense where I can even try to see the other side of it. And that's all I'm saying in this.
I'll disagree with you on that point, because just the sheer act of Will beloved A-lister Smith screaming to Chris Rock, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. If he had just done that, that would have been shocking in and of itself. And that would have been enough.
It would have been, but we wouldn't be carrying on for days. And I wouldn't be as upset because there wasn't an element of stepping onto a stage and
assaulting somebody.
And assaulting someone, right. And people are like, that's not assault. The police would have charged him with assault if Chris Rock said so. If he said, yes, please charge him.
Anyways,
let's
move on. But this is just a reading, an interpretation. I don't know if this is true, but it makes sense to me. I don't want to get sued, so let me very carefully word this.
I'll sit back and listen.
Here we go. It has been reported, and a lot of people have said in the past, that Will Smith had a relationship with Scientology. Mm-hmm. I'll keep it vague. He even opened a school that taught, reportedly, Scientology principles. Mm-hmm. And one of the principles on Scientology is to do this, to be aggressive. It's called using the tone scale to promote compliance. And it's a foundational part of Scientology. It's one of the reasons why Tom Cruise likes to yell at people a lot, to show superiority and put them in their place. And Scientologists, according to what I read, do slap other Scientologists to show dominance over them. So maybe that had something to do with it.
I mean, what you just reported negates everything, because you said to other Scientologists, and Chris Rock is not a Scientologist.
But not just to other Scientologists, to anybody, right? It could be just to anybody to show your dominance.
To me, that looks like a man that trained for Ali. That looks like a man that has thrown 70 million punches in his life. Listen, if he wanted to deck him, he could have laid him out. Will Smith is a big man and probably knows a thing or two after just training for Ali. Okay, that movie he was in. That was he'd done that move millions of times. I mean, his form was that of a boxer, of a fighter, of someone that has, made that motion before. It had a nice swift move to it. I don't know about the Scientology crap. And once again, I don't care. If you want to pray to a tree, pray to a fucking tree, or L. Ron Hubbard or Perez Hilton. Pray to Perez Hilton. That would be funny. Do that. I don't care.
I should start my own church.
I saw some people, and people sent me that as well. And I'm like, so what? What, Scientology is any less wacky than regular religion? I mean, come on. The things in regular religion are wacky enough too. So, that doesn't bother me. It doesn't even move the little needle on the Booker VU meter.
Anyways, Jada Pinkett Smith took to Instagram to break her silence. She posted a text image with no caption that read, "This is a season for healing, and I'm here for it."
Yes.
And she limited the comments, so people could not comment on it unless she was following you.
Look, they brought this up. She brought this up. She made this happen. Okay. She opened the door of their public life, of their public being, of everything about them. And she made it open for comment and welcomed it by putting on a show that I'm sure her and her husband paid for. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that he's the star of the family. She needs something to do. She created a show and she aired out their family business. And to that point, Will Smith needs to pipe down. He needs to not tell everybody to shut their mouth. They opened the door to let people shut their mouths. And that is the way I see it. If you are a willing participant, I like that word is involved, willing. If you're a willing participant and you engage in anything of that ilk, I'm sorry. It's going to be hard for me to give you a compassion when, people think it's okay to make fun of you because you've opened the door to that. You've made yourself a punching bag.
Honestly, I don't have any compassion for either of them. Like so many people, and I don't want to talk about this too much because we already talked about it.
I still think people want to talk about this.
Oh, really?
I'm going to disagree with you on this one.
Right.
Yeah.
Like so many people have said, Will and Jada have been in show business for decades. They are used to everything that comes with being A-listers. And I have zero empathy or compassion for that joke. And honestly, it wasn't even that bad of a joke.
No, it's not. And you have to even have even thicker skin like I said, once you open the door to let people into this nonsense. The narcissism of these two is off of the charts to me, thinking that everyone in the world, well, we're the first couple of show business. Everyone knows everything about us. And Chris Rock absolutely would know that she has alopecia. Huh? That is a level of narcissism that is just off the charts to me. And that's the thing that bothers me the most. He's the movie star. She isn't. Okay. People don't know that. I didn't know that. I did. And how about, and I'm going to say one more thing to that. And I know, because you're tired of this. I got it.
No, to their credit, most A-listers probably think that way. You know, it's not.
You're right. You're probably
Will and Jada.
But some A-listers have only been A-listers. Like Adele's been an A-lister since she was 23, whatever. Will Smith has literally almost been an A-lister since he was, 25, 20. I mean, at half of his life, let's at least say half of his life, he's been at the top of the A-list. And that's an elite walk to be walking, to assume that everybody knows that is narcissism to me. That's what it is. There's no other way to put it. And it should be really obvious to everyone. When he laughed initially, he didn't even connect the dots. And he's her fucking husband. He didn't connect. So we're supposed to, and let's take it all the way out to Chris Rock. He's supposed to. The level of narcissism with these two, that people should know this, is astounding to me.
Well, that's obvious.
That's it.
The whole premise of her red table talk show is like, I've got it all figured out. Yeah. I know everything.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that was fun. Speaking of a similar topic and knowing or learning how to deal with everything that comes with celebrity, Doja Cat might possibly retire from music. That's what she said.
I don't know what I'll do.
I really like her music. She's a hit maker, had so many hit songs.
What's her biggest hit song?
I mean, many.
Honest to God, up the top of my head, I can't think of one Doja Cat song. Where are you going?
Say So is probably her biggest. It was driving me.
That's a good song. That's a good song. Were you getting some glare?
Yeah, it was giving me OCD. My face was like looking weird. Now I get nice lighting here. There we go.
Yeah, but now we see some like drywall work on your wall back there. What is that? Or is that just a shadow from the sun?
No, that's just shadow. There's no
okay. It looks like drywall to us.
No. Say So, Get Into It, yeah. Need to Know, Kiss Me More. Pop radio hits. Pop radio.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, pop radio is so off my radar now that I the big ones aren't that big to me anymore, I guess.
Actually, before we even really go further into Doja Cat, did you know Taylor Hawkins from Foo Fighters?
I did.
You did? Was he like just an acquaintance, not a friend?
Yeah, he was an acquaintance. He was a guy that I would interview from time to time with the band. I've never had a real sit down with just him to dice things up, but he was always great with Dave, and those guys just, that they're pros because they know they're there to give you what you need. They're like A-listers, they're A-listers of rock, if you will. They get it, and he got it, and he was fun and sweet, and had a cool sense of humor, and never took himself too seriously. He was just a fun dude.
And from what I've read, I love the Foo Fighters, but I'm not like a hardcore Taylor Hawkins fan, so I didn't know everything about him. But from what I've read, I love that he loved music so much that on his downtime, when he wasn't in Foo Fighters, he had like a cover band, and he did other musical things outside of Foo Fighters. Metal,
and he had side projects of his own. He's done a couple of them, and I mean, he came up through pop. I mean, Sass Jordan was a little rock pop. Never really had the big hit, but then, dating and touring with Alanis Morissette, and then joining the Foo Fighters. And he had a hell of a career. Good kid, man. Just it's a bummer. Such a bummer.
So Doja Cat has been in South America doing the festival circuit.
Mhm.
There was a natural, not disaster, but the one show in Paraguay got rained
You say
out.
Paraguay. Interesting. Can you say that again? That's interesting. Paraguay.
Paraguay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Spanish language way of
I
saying
don't
it.
not believe you. It just sounded cool when you said it.
The festival, the entire festival ended up getting canceled due to flooding from a major storm. And then folks in Paraguay were upset that Doja Cat didn't do anything to express anything to them. She did take to social media after a performance in Brazil that she did not like. She said, quote, "I don't think I gave Brazil a good enough show tonight and at all. And I'm sorry for that. But thank you guys for coming out. I fucking love you. And thank God we got another show tomorrow. I promise I'll do better." And then that set off the people from Paraguay who were flooding her social media, complaining. Flooding. Yeah. Oh, hey.
Terrible pun.
I didn't do that on purpose.
I know.
Saying you couldn't even share a photo or do anything or mention us at all. Like you don't care about your fans in Paraguay and yada, yada, yada. And it's clear to me by now, given everything that I'm reading and have seen with Doja Cat, that she needs a break. She's, had one. Oftentimes what happens with artists when they first pop, their debut is kind of an extended debut. It's like album 1 and album 2, and it's like kind of like a non-stop cycle, and they often don't take a break. I think she needs a break. She's overworked. She's tired.
Perez, she couldn't tour for 2 years. No one could. I mean, what was she doing during pandemic that wasn't considered a break?
We're making music, putting out videos.
I feel you though. If you think that she, you get that because maybe she needs a quote social media break. She needs a cleanse from that, like turn it off, hand it over to somebody else, make your posts business only.
I mean, let me read to you some of the responses that she said.
You don't need to. Fuck these dumb people. I don't give a lot of time to morons on Twitter that.
Well, no, but it's interesting what she said. She said, "I'm not sorry." She said, "I've moved on. I'm just going to let everybody be mad." She goes on to say, "I'm not taking pictures again with anybody else after this tour. It's gone and I don't give a fuck anymore. I fucking quit. I can't wait to fucking disappear. And I don't need you to believe in me anymore. Everything is dead to me. Music is dead. And I'm a fucking fool for ever thinking I was made for this. This is a fucking nightmare. Unfollow me." It's clear she needs a break.
Yeah. From social media.
From everything, maybe.
Yeah, you're right. From everything. She needs to park it. You're right. She needs to get her head straight. And realize that these people, they don't matter. They're not real. They're fucking ass wipes. It's not even these people's real personalities that are talking to them. It's just ass wipes on the internet.
And those people, it may not be everything, right? Like that might just be like what triggered her. But there might be a lot of other things that are going on that set her off too. Sure. So that's why,
from her past even. I mean, there's just a lot of things that snowball. And, when you become famous, I think a lot of that stuff festers forever unless you deal with it. It's like everything goes on pause because you're not going to deal with the things that are really going on in your head and your life, and you're just too busy forging forward, working. It's like that the boogeyman inside of you will catch up with you eventually. And boy, it sounds like it caught her, and she's young too. Yeah. So she should take a break and relax.
Sending her positive vibes. Also down in South America doing the festival circuit has been Miley Cyrus, who had a really scary incident. She was on her private plane when it had to make an emergency landing because it was struck by lightning.
I think that happens a lot though.
Does it?
Yeah, planes get struck by lightning a lot. It's not like it's grounded, I mean, the plane's not grounded. So usually you don't even know that it happens. It's like, the current going straight through you. It's like if you were hanging on to a power line, if you're not touching anything, it's not going to hurt you, you know? But if the power line's on the ground and it touches you and you're grounded, you're fucked. Okay.
I mean, I think I don't know. I saw the video of it, but it might have caused damage to the airplane.
Yeah. Maybe it hit it and fucked
like
something up on the wing or something. Yeah.
It really hit that airplane. It was crazy. So,
lightning is scary.
I know.
I hate flying through storms. It's the worst. I mean, it's just,
you
try to get around it. You're like,
yeah.
I'm going to die. I'm going to fucking die. Have you ever been on a plane that's taken an emergency landing before?
No.
Oh, I have. Jesus Christ. I was flying to Puerto Rico, I think. And no, Cancun. I'm sorry. I was going to Cancun. It's when I lived in New York. And one of the windows, the windows in planes, you know, how there's like a inner plane and an outer plane of the, it's like there's two.
Yeah.
Okay. So the one on the outside blew off the fucking plane. It's just that little piece of plastic. So we get the, ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Could the people in coach make room for the people in first class? We're going to have to take an emergency landing. It seems we've lost the window up in first class. It's blew out. So this plane, it's wild. We were over the ocean at the time, and I think we landed in Texas, maybe Dallas. I think Dallas, but it's amazing when you take an emergency landing, how quickly, wherever you are, they can get that goddamn bird on the ground. You know, when you fly into LA, you're like, you fly out over the ocean and you're dicking around and sometimes you're circling. When it's an emergency landing, bro, it is like, and you go straight down and they clear the runways and there is no waiting, do not pass go. But a whole like fucking comedy routine essentially broke out while this is happening. Now I am a giant pussy. I was like, my chest was like this. I'm with my ex. I was with Linda, I'll just say who I was with. And she was fucking sleeping. And I told her, wake up. We're about to make an emergency landing. The fucking window has come out of the plane. She's like, it'll be fine. And fell back asleep. I was like, you got to be fucking shitting me. I'm losing my mind. So then this whole series of events happens. The flight attendant gets on. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your flight attendant. She goes, you may notice that the emergency lighting has been illuminated. You don't see that every day. I'm like, are you shitting me? We're doing stand up here? I go, no, this is not funny. And then, it's Cancun. So it's a lot of young people, and it's a bunch of like, spring breakers and such, whatever. And girls are crying and people are losing their fucking minds. It was wild. And it scared the shit out of me, but they fixed it. We went back in like 5 hours, but yeah, it's kind of scary.
Very scary. Well, thankfully you're here to tell that tale, and Miley Cyrus is still with us as well. Hallelujah. But it's so weird. Literally 30 minutes before I saw that post on Miley's Instagram about the lightning striking her plane, I shared a Miley video on my Instagram story. Mm-hmm. Because I'm like, fuck, Miley's on fire. She's like so good. And like, I was watching videos of her performances at all of these festivals. I'm like, oh, I want to see Miley in concert. And then like, anyways, all right, on to Meghan Markle.
Can I stop you? You haven't read a spot yet, which scares me.
We only have one.
Really? We have 15 every other show and we have one this show. Are you sure about that?
I mean, we have a few that are pre-recorded that are slotted in.
Okay. But you've looked. It's fine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt that.
I only have to do one that I have to read. So I'll do that before calls or in the middle of my interview even.
Whatevs.
Yeah. All right. On to Meghan Markle. We have spoken in the past about Meghan Markle's Spotify deal. She got paid literally tens of millions of dollars to create a podcast for Spotify
that tens of 11s of people will listen to.
Maybe even less than that, because they just released a trailer for the podcast.
It's a podcast trailer.
Yeah.
We need one of those. Could we get on that immediately?
Well, hers is a different kind of show. I think they interview people
You interview people.
Well, I mean, yeah, but they must have done hers all at once ahead of time. And anyways, whatever. I don't think a trailer will help us that much. Will it?
I was kidding. I was just kidding.
Anyway,
I'm just thinking it's going to be a bore because she's a fucking bore.
Well, I mean, beyond
talk about someone that married someone. I mean, boy, this plays right into Will and Jada. I mean, you married someone that, you know, has classed you up the A level, B level, whatever ladder, but let's just not get carried away. You're not the star. I don't think he's a star either. He's just a royal, which by proxy, I guess you're a star, but
I mean, even reading right now for everybody, the description of the show is a bore. It's called Archetypes. And
the fucking title, I fell asleep during. Archetypes.
Yes. This
sounds pretentious.
The series will put a spotlight on female stereotypes. Through conversations with historians, experts, and women who have experienced being typecast, Meghan plans to investigate labels that try to hold women back.
She's going to investigate this? All right.
Denouncing the many offensive terms women have been called in the media and beyond. Meghan explains this is how we talk about women, the words that raise our girls, and how the media reflects women back to us. But where do these stereotypes come from? And how do they keep showing up and defining our lives? Listen, I will applaud her. I appreciate that she's trying to do something altruistic, trying to do something to move things forward, to get people having important conversations, but it just seems so boring.
Yeah.
Even the trailer, I listened to it.
Can you call this altruistic when you're getting tens of millions of dollars for it? No.
Well, good point. All right. From Meghan Markle to well into the show, have not spoken about her yet, but we'll discuss her because this was, you know, something that we talked about previously, and it's good to do a follow-up. Kim Kardashian, I think last week we mentioned those comments that made her go viral where she was talking about get your fucking ass up and work. So I don't need to read that comment.
No, you got it. Yeah, we know that.
That was just, you know, summarizing what she said, but now she's sort of apologizing for that. She said, well, that statement that I said was without questions and conversation around it. It became a soundbite really with no context. And that soundbite came off the notion and the question right before, which was after 20 years of being in the business, you're famous for being famous. And my whole tone and attitude changed with the previous question that went into that question about what advice would you give to women? Blah, 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 blah. She said, it wasn't a blanket statement towards women or to feel like I don't respect the work or think that they don't work hard. I know that they do. It was taken out of context, but I'm really sorry if it was received that way. First of all, I don't know about y'all, but I saw the video, so I did not see it taken out of context.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't see the video. I actually just got the words, and the words that you said to me, I didn't have a problem with. And now I'm hearing her words only and not a video in the apology. And I shrug and say, okay, I buy it. Look, there's no way she cannot be perceived as out of touch because why? She's out of fucking touch.
Yeah.
Okay, she is. And
I think
that's the point people are trying to make is all I'm trying to get to.
Exactly. And I think that's why even with her apology, a lot of people were rolling their eyes and frustrated because in this new statement, she did not acknowledge she works hard and created these really successful businesses, but she failed to point out the obvious, all of the many privileges and advantages that she had. People
of privilege, like I'll oftentimes forget my privilege, even though that I'm some poor kid that grew up in a burnt out trailer in West Virginia, I'm still privileged. Okay. I had food every day growing up. You know what I mean? I got to go to a school every day growing up. I have some privilege, and even I have to recognize that. But you have to, really check yourself when you're sitting in an fucking literal ivory tower, pretty much. you can't, you just have to pipe down when it comes to these situations. And you can't throw expletives in there on top of it to emphasize that, I did this all myself. Like, fuck right off. No, you did not. You grew up in Beverly fucking Hills. I mean, eat a fucking dick. I don't want to hear this.
She was trying to be edgy.
Yeah, whatever. Stop. Just stop. Go back to trying to be like that. Go try be a lawyer. Go back to that. I like that gear.
Thankfully, I have only one brief and positive thing to report about Kanye West this week.
All right, let's hear it.
He was spotted at one of his kids' soccer games alongside Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
Being a nice extended family.
So he's not extended family. He's family.
I mean, or you know what I'm trying to say? Like they're not together anymore.
Right.
A nice co-parenting family better.
Yeah, co-parenting situation. They're making it work. Good for them.
All right.
By the way, I believe that he always has been as well. I don't think, I think everything just calmed down. I still think a lot of this is for show.
Well, good. I'm glad it calmed down. Speaking of Kim Kardashian, Pete Davidson's mother says she wants Pete to have a baby with Kim Kardashian.
Well, if she has as much as they report that she has, I wouldn't bank against that. I wouldn't bet against it. I wouldn't want against it.
Also, one of the funniest things I've seen in maybe a year, Britney Spears posted a video on her Instagram, which she deleted. She's a little bit like Kanye. She'll sometimes post and delete things, but she posted this video of Pete Davidson that she thought was funny. It was a video of Pete Davidson hanging out with Scott Disick, and it was like a boys' night. But Scott and all of his friends had fallen asleep, and Pete was the only one awake. And Britney shared this video and wrote in the caption, "Sorry, had to repost this. No idea who these people in the video are."
God bless her.
But it made me laugh so hard.
I mean, can you imagine if that is true? I envy Britney Spears in ways that you cannot imagine.
I think it's true. I don't think Britney would purposely shade Pete Davidson and Scott Disick.
Okay, cool. I think that's awesome. I really do. I
thought that was.
I
so
barely
funny.
know who Scott Disick is. Like, if I barely know, but still, Pete Davidson. That's pretty. That just says your head has completely been buried in the sand for at least 2 years.
And it's also a good ego check for Pete Davidson. Like, yeah, you're famous, but not everybody knows who you are.
Well, in every single circle. I mean, that could be. It's like when you look at like the biggest country star in the world, I'm pretty sure I've never heard of their name before. You know what I mean? Like every subset of culture
everybody knows Britney Spears, though.
Yeah. Yes. I agree. But that's what makes her, to me, that's what makes her A-list. That's where my A-list line is typically drawn. Everybody in the world has to know who you are.
Yeah. Britney also did a post that she deleted, taking to task her ex-boyfriend, Justin Timberlake, saying that she felt that Justin was just using her to make himself more famous and yada, yada, yada.
He was pretty famous at the time. I mean, those two made each other even more famous, but he was pretty famous at the time.
That's true. I mean, but she could still feel hurt.
Yeah, she could feel any way she wants. You're right. I'm glad she took it down. I'm sure somebody probably said, let's take that down.
Yeah. All right. Back to the Kardashians for a moment. Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker, according to reports, have delayed their wedding because of fertility issues. They're having difficulty trying to conceive through IVF, and they just want to focus on that right now, allegedly. But then on the flip side, there were a lot of folks online, women and men, but mostly women, that were chattering and speculating that Kourtney is pregnant already. So we'll see. Who knows what ends up happening there. Speaking of Travis Barker, I kind of just wanted to mention that story as a segue. His ex-wife, Shayna Moakler, has now revealed that she is not pregnant.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
Instead,
Okay.
she had taken some weight loss substance, a hormone,
Supplements or something?
no, a hormone called HCG. I've never even heard of that before. She took this hormone HCG to help her lose weight. And because of that hormone, it's the same hormone that's produced when a woman is pregnant. So she got a false positive.
Huh.
So, I mean, I think that's a good thing because her boyfriend that she's back together with, she accused him of domestic violence. So yeah, there's that. All right. Speaking of exes, Kylie Jenner's ex, Tyga, eagle-eyed fans observed and noticed that Tyga has been liking a bunch of videos on TikTok of Kylie's daughter, Stormi.
Okay.
Is that weird, A? And B, what does Travis Scott think of this? What do you do?
Stop
if you're
for 1
Travis
second.
Scott?
They have a kid together?
No. Travis
Tyga
Scott
and Kylie don't have kids.
No.
So
he's liking videos on TikTok of Kylie Jenner's child with Travis Scott.
Are they still cool? Like, are they? Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a big deal. I mean, it's like, congratulations. That was my ex. Like, look, I'm trying to make myself. I always go back to how would I feel if I'm
okay.
If I think of one of my exes and I see that one of my exes has a really happy life and some kids, I'm liking the shit out of that. Why is that a big deal?
Well, because you have to think, what would Travis Scott think of this? Is he going to be upset about it?
Why would he care? I don't think his
is
ego really that fragile that he can't help that Tyga, the ex, is saying, hey, you've got a nice life there. I like that.
Is Tyga trying to make the moves on my chick again?
Dear God. What are you, 12?
This is how people think.
You're right. These Hollywood people are fucking mentally stunted at 12. You got a point there, but no, I'm not buying into this one. I think she's a mother and an adult and he's a father. And I think Travis Scott, to be honest with you, has bigger fish to fry.
Well, actually, he's back performing for the first time since the Astroworld tragedy. So he's business as usual. In more couples news, Jason Momoa, in a new interview, insists that contrary to reports and rumors, he and Lisa Bonet are not reconciling, unfortunately. He says, we're not back together. We're family. And actually, he was seen flirting at an Oscars party with Kate Beckinsale.
Run.
Why?
No, thanks.
All right. In more couples news, I find this. Let me just say it. Let me just recount what happened first, then I'll try to give an opinion.
Okay.
Olivia Rodrigo, arguably one of the top artists working in music right now. Her ex-boyfriend, Joshua Bassett, also one of her co-stars on that Disney show, High School Musical, the musical. After she released her song that was a huge unexpected hit, Driver's License, most people assumed that song was about him and started sending all this hate to him. And for a young kid, I got my opinion. For a young kid, fresh, new to the scene, new to Hollywood and how things work, it could seem like you're going to die. Like the world. Yeah,
that's weighty, I'm sure.
Yeah. He claims that things got so bad for him that he ended up getting septic shock and had to be hospitalized.
Yeah. And it's easy for a person of my age, your age, to say, unplug the internet. That's their heartbeat. That's their lifeline. They are tangled into that. That's part of their fucking id. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. It shouldn't be, but I think when you're in the business and you're that young, it's so important. It's the most, if someone took away your Instagram or your whatever, TikTok or whatever
I had that happen.
Yeah, your platform. Well, you're a stunted child yourself. But when someone takes that away at that age, I can understand that. I mean, I could have compassion for that. But someone in his family should have still done it anyhow and said, this isn't important. I mean, it's not even real, because it's not. It's just not real.
Yeah.
I feel badly for the people that think it's real, but it's not real.
In more couples news, I don't know if this is real either. I don't know, but people are reporting that Yolanda Hadid, the mother of Gigi and Bella Hadid, made up the claims against Zayn Malik because she disliked him so much.
If you recall on this show, I said they have their story and he's got his story, and I was sort of chastised for that. Well, fuck right off everybody, because turns out that's exactly what has happened.
No, I'm not
saying have their no. It's still as true as the day I said it.
Right.
They have their story. She has their story. And I'll say what I always say. I believe personally that the truth usually lies somewhere in the middle. And that's my belief.
According to these new reports, she disliked him so much that she wanted to get Zayn Malik deported. So she made up the physical altercation allegation.
And by the way, that's not saying that it didn't happen either. It totally could have happened. I don't want people to think that, I'm not going, well, I always say, I don't know, but I always, when I see like these media moves and these things that you say, I'm like, I'm getting a whiff of something. Oh yeah, it's bullshit.
In more couples news, this is so unfortunate. Like Shayna Moakler, staying with her allegedly abusive boyfriend, Hayden Panettiere publicly accused her boyfriend of domestic abuse and then got back together with him and has stayed with him. And now that dude, I don't know if he was drunk. You could maybe guess, assume, speculate, but he got into a bar fight.
Well, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, let's address the first part. No, let's address the first part of it.
It means that he still has anger issues. It means he doesn't know how to control himself. I've been in a bar fight. Do you think I have anger issues? Yeah, I've never been in a bar fight.
But I have. I don't have anger issues, I don't think. But I've been in a bar fight. Let's address the first part of it.
All right.
Maybe he did have issues. And it sounds like from everything you're saying, he probably does. Isn't he a fighter? Isn't the guy a fighter?
No, that's her ex.
Oh, this is the new one.
The Ukrainian.
Dude. Okay, so this is a new dude that also has. Yeah. Okay, well, maybe she has a type, and her picker is leaning towards an alpha caveman male. I don't fucking know, but I can say this: people can change, and they could have had problems, and they could have decided, hey, let's move on as people, and let's try to figure out those problems, and let's deal with them, and they could decide to get back together. That could have happened. So, and good for them. None of my business. And if that's what happened, great. You're evolving as a human being. I got no problem with that. I don't know. But the second part of it, like, you don't know what happens. I was in a bar fight. I mean, some guy came in on drugs, came into a bar, it's Booker Story Day today.
I know.
Grabbed a fucking glass, right? And he came in and he fucking threw it at the bar with all of the bottles and everything. And this guy was clearly on something. And I'm with my buddy Kane, and I'm standing there, and this guy's like throwing punches and he's hitting people. And I'm just sitting here like this. I'm like, this is funny. I'm like, and then he comes over towards us and he shoves my buddy Kane, and he shoves him. And Kane's a big guy. My boy's like 6'2", 6'3". He's a big guy, but a lover. He does it. He's not a fighter, but anyhow, he pushes him back into me, and I'm drunk. It's probably 1 a.m. Had about 19, I'm sure. And he pushes him back into me. And now I've got my buddy Kane, like right here. And I say to him, I go, if this guy hits me, I'm going to take this bar stool and I'm going to hit him over the head with it. As plain as fucking day. Next thing, a guy's like a Tasmanian devil going through the bar, punching people. No one can stop him. He comes over and he fucking shoves me. And I did one of these, Perez. I went, oh, well. And I got up and I picked up my bar stool and he turned around and I hit the motherfucker right over the head with it.
Oh my God.
He did not fall. I hit the guy with a bar stool, a heavy bar stool. He did not fall. So now I'm holding this bar stool like a fucking lion tamer, right? I'm like, you know, like trying to keep this fucking maniac. And he's a maniac. He's on something. I don't know what. So I'm like, at this moment, I'm like, fuck it. We're throwing it. We're throwing punches here. So I threw the fucking stool and I fucking squared up. I'm like, I'm going to get my ass kicked because he's been hit by 5 fucking different people at least. And he hasn't fallen. And I hit him with the chair. And all of a sudden, so brother,
I would have run out. Why didn't you?
Not me. Fuck it. I was drunk and didn't care. So I squared the fuck up, right? And as I fucking square up, I'm like, I'm going to take my best shot. I'm going to fucking die here, but I'm going to get a shot in. As I square up, it hit it like a light hits him. Like he almost goes limp. Like someone told him something, or his body said, you just got hit by a chair. And he just sort of shoulders down and kind of walked out the door. And I'm sitting there like, thank God, because I'm about to get my fucking ass kicked. Now he walks out the door. My buddy Kane goes up over to him like, I don't know what my buddy was thinking. I have no idea what he was thinking. Like if he's going to like help the situation. Like I said, he's a big teddy bear. He's like a fucking lover. The guy turns around and punches my friend right in the face. And I was like, you dumbass, why did you walk over there? But, and this is the crazy part. So the police came, it was great. Somehow it's New York, you know, there's a cop on every block back then. This is the mid 2003, 4, God knows when. There's a cop on every corner. They find this guy. I don't know if he's still outside. I don't know what the deal is, but they put him in a cop car. And there's this little Hispanic guy. He's working in the kitchen out of probably Puerto Rican, Dominican, you know, New Yorker, was working in the kitchen, and I guess he got hit by a glass, but he went to the cop car and he opened the door and fucking punched the guy. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. I was like, oh my God. Then the story gets a little better because I was with my friend Danny, whom was on K-Rock, and she had just left us, right? She had just left and she was going to do her shift on the radio at 2:00 in the morning, 2:00 in the morning. And this is how cool K-Rock was in New York. So everything calms down. We all calm down. We get another fucking drink. And I called Danny on my cell phone and I say, you're not going to fucking believe what happens. The second you leave. And by the way, she takes her boyfriend who's like 6'5" with her. I was like, oh, he would have kicked everybody's ass. You know, he was a door guy, but he leaves too, but whatever. She goes on the radio. This is the best part. She goes on the radio. She goes, I leave Booker and Kane for 2 seconds at this bar, whatever, downtown. And they get in a bar fight. And she's like, this is the greatest thing ever. So all of a sudden, it's about a half hour later, these 2 cops walk back in and we're fucked up by this point. They walk up, they come up to me and Kane and we're like, oh shit, like, am I going to jail for something? And the 2 cops, they look at us, they go, you guys are Booker and Kane from K-Rock? And we're like, yeah. And they're like, we had no idea it was you. We were here the whole time, like hanging out with you guys. So they heard it on the radio, her talking about it. But it's almost a movie, that story, but it was a fun one.
That's a good story. All right. Well, I'm going to just assume Hayden's boyfriend started it. I don't know. Allegedly. I don't know. I'm only kidding. But I wish her and him well. All right. In more couples news, congratulations to Alec Baldwin and his wife. They are expecting
come on
their
again
7th child together, number 7. I mean,
at least Nick Cannon is a younger man. Alec Baldwin, how old is Alec? But he's got to be 60, no?
62, I would guess. Let me see. Alec Baldwin is 63.
Wow. All right.
Baby number 7 on the way. Congrats. On to some TV news. Former Bachelor Colton Underwood was luckily able to get a show on Netflix detailing or showing his coming out journey. And since then, he's gotten engaged. But according to reports, Netflix passed and nobody is interested in a wedding TV special. Speaking of the Bachelor Nation universe, Caitlin Bristow and Tayshia Adams are upset that they have been replaced by Jesse Palmer to host the upcoming The Bachelorette. And Tayshia, according to reports, is done with the Bachelor franchise.
Oh, what a shame.
In more reality TV news, Bravo is done with the Real Housewives of New York. So much so that they've fired all of the cast and are rebooting the entire show with a brand new cast. And they, of course, now, want to make it a much more diverse group of women, not just all these white women. However, it's not all bad news for the legacy housewives. This is an interesting move. They're going to also launch like an OG's version of Real Housewives of New York with a lot of the former housewives. And finally, a little bit of music news. Machine Gun Kelly is having a big moment. His new album is projected to debut at #1. And I'm surprised by this number. It's expected to move between 90 and 100,000 units. I would say that's really good for Machine Gun Kelly.
I think it's just average for now, no?
For him, I think it's good.
Okay, all right.
I don't know. I wouldn't have expected him to do that well.
Isn't it wild that that's the number for #1 now? I mean, and that's using streams. Okay. I mean, when we think of like #1s over if we just, rewind 10 years or whatever, it's just, it's funny. It's not even, it's almost comical. And those were people that actually got off their ass and went and bought something. This is like click computer counts. Like, holy shit, what a different world it is.
All right. Before we get to calls, a reminder at the end of our calls today, my interview with Jason Lee. Stick around for that if you want. If not, it's the same. I had somebody complain about the interviews. Like, it does not affect you.
Don't listen. Yeah,
I know.
I haven't, guys. I haven't listened to one of them, and I'm on this fucking show with him. I'm not interested. Not that I don't care. I don't come to this for interviews. This is my celebrity gossip show. It's fine. Just don't listen.
Yeah. But somebody complained. I'm like, we're not giving you shorter shows. We're not doing
the shows are the same length. It's not like we're doing a 20-minute show now and like it's an hour of interviews. It's the same fucking show.
Anything different. And the interviews are literally at the very
whatever.
end.
We're talking about one person. There's always one dumbass. I'm sure we'll get to some calls and there'll be some more dumbasses. So let's go.
All right, let's get some calls.
Hi, my name is Erica from Las Vegas. This question is for Booker. I was on Instagram scrolling, and I noticed that you were fostering a dog named Lilac.
Yeah.
When are you going to get one and keep one? Seriously, you can hear my dog's jingles. You got to keep them.
No, that's the whole point of fostering. And by the way, I have a dog. I have a dog named Sadie. I didn't foster Sadie and keep her. We got her from the place we do the fostering from. And we're up to 13 dogs that we've fostered now. That dog that she speaks of, her name's Lilac, but we call her Lily. She has a home. The other boy dog does not yet, but he's so cute. I love him. But it's hard, man. This is not for the thin-skinned, this fostering. You get them for a few weeks, you fall in love with them, you teach them love, you teach them a lot of things, and then you have to let them go. It's hard. It hurts. And I cry every fucking time. I'm a big baby. But every time, a couple of weeks go by and you're like, 2 more dogs come in and you say, hey man, I helped. And it's a nice feeling. But it's not easy, but no, I'm not going to keep them. You're not supposed to keep them. You're supposed to love them and send them through the system. And that's what we do. Let's take another call. Sorry.
Hi, Perez Hilton. My name is Robert, and I'm gonna be completely honest. I didn't ever think that I would need your validation to like kind of continue on in life. But my dilemma is that when you're not really in the loop and you kind of hear rumors, and then all of a sudden it just clicks up to you that like, oh, so that's what Perez Hilton was talking about when he was referencing Britney's situation. And I just really think, and not just for myself to kind of just know what I'm up against. And then also I feel like nobody is realizing it in my life, but there's something going on right now. Like the Oscars was so fucking weird. And also like, why is are we all gonna die? Are they, or is this just like a big ploy to kind of get rid of certain types of things here? You know what I'm saying? Because,
by the way, everyone that's leaving comments online, this is the person, by the way. This is what I mean. Listen, I'll try to take a moment of what he said.
That was a fascinating call.
It was fascinating.
I had no idea where it was going. I loved it.
There's more, but I can't take any more. Okay. He's right. I think there is something going on. I think there's something going on in the world. No. I think in the fact that, we've lost decency in some regards, where we're having arguments over, is it okay? It is okay for Will Smith to slap the shit out of Chris Rock. Like, no, it's not. And there's going to be people that say that there is. I'm going to have a hard time agreeing with any of them. I'll listen and I'll try to get to the bottom of what they're talking about. But
all right, well, let's take another call.
Right. Yeah.
Hi, Perez. Hi, Booker. This is Mariana from Oakland. I just got done listening to your guys' little bit on like what happened with Will and Chris at the Oscars, and I think you guys really missed the point of like why the joke was offensive. Like Jada's spoken very openly about her alopecia. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah. It doesn't matter why it's offensive.
It doesn't. That
doesn't matter.
But I guess this is to the point I just said. I mean, maybe let's hear her out. Maybe she's got a point here. Yeah. By the way, she knows so much about her alopecia, she can't even pronounce the fucking word. Okay. No one knows is the point. Like, no, people don't follow her. She's not this A-list person that everybody knows everything about. Like, come on, give me a break.
Health issues that she's dealing with that caused her hair loss and all this, and for Chris to go up and make fun of her in a room full of her peers, like, go Will for slapping him. Like, he should have rocked his shit even more. Like, it was well deserved. And Chris Rock has a history of like being a misogynistic asshole towards women. Like, what's the problem? Like,
no, he doesn't.
I'm really disappointed, Perez, that you aren't more on like Will's side of things. But yeah, love the podcast. Can't wait for this, weekend episode.
There you go. So, I think that girl's a fucking idiot. That's what I think. That's my opinion.
Also, I should have mentioned this too. I mean, would this woman and anybody else would not have had the same reaction if Will Smith went up when Regina Hall made that whole shtick about, oh, come up, Will.
Yeah.
What if Will went up and smacked Regina Hall? Would that have been okay?
And let me ask you a question. What is a more egregious offense? What Regina Hall said or what Chris Rock said?
What Regina Hall said.
Yeah. If you would ask me post show, if like this came up, there was no slap, no anything, I would say that's kind of insulting. I wouldn't have cared. As I said, because they've opened the book of their life up and they've given it us to chew on and digest and make fodder for everyone.
The reason I choose the Regina Hall one is because that was an extended bit. The Chris Rock one was like a throwaway, super little quick moment.
Yeah. Like, wow, a joke about a movie where Demi Moore, the most beautiful person at the time, played a soldier. Wow, what an insult. The medical condition. You suffer the same medical condition, don't you, Perez?
No.
Alopecia? You were balding. That's essentially what it is.
Is that alopecia? Okay.
I don't know if it's alopecia, but it's, a lot of men suffer baldness, and a lot of women suffer bald. It's not, I don't know if it's a medical condition. Would you consider going bald a medical condition? Because I think that's the word she just used. It's a condition.
I don't know enough about
I guess it's
alopecia.
Baldness is a condition. I don't know. It's whatever. Look, I only hope to be as beautiful as that woman. I mean, she's stunning. Jada Pinkett Smith is stunning.
I'll go back to what I said. I don't care how offensive it was. Maybe that's not true. Like, I mean, if Chris Rock said, "Ooh, I hope your mother is raped," like, all right, fine.
Okay, take a shot. Yeah.
All right.
Or like, use the F word and called somebody that to their face in a room.
Yeah.
It's like I said about the Shrek thing. At least I could understand it. At least I could at least I could say, okay, I don't condone it still, but at least I could this I don't understand. It's not really an insult. There's no real insult there. There's a lot more going on.
There's more going on.
There's a lot more going on in his head. That's the thing.
Know. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like I said, it's years of fame and these problems compounding. He touched upon it in his speech that made absolutely no sense about, that we've become fair game as punching bags because of this. It's like, no, sorry, Mr. Smith, you haven't become fair game. You caused this. You let this happen. You put a show out that addressed this stuff, meaning it's okay for us to have conversation about it because you presented it to us, and comedy comes from conversation. This wasn't even that with Chris Rock. This wasn't taking a jab at his marriage. It's talking about a movie. I mean, come on, whatever. This is silly. Want to wrap it up?
Well, right now, if you are interested, I am chatting with Jason Lee. Some of you might know him from Love and Hip Hop. Others might know him from Wild and Out with Nick Cannon. He also is besties with not just Kanye, but also besties with Cardi B. And he runs Hollywood Unlocked. We covered a lot of ground. Here is our chat. Thank you, Jason Lee, for joining me and my listeners and viewers today. First of all, I love your office. I feel like I need to step my office. I don't have an office. I've got 3 kids and my kids have taken over every single space in my house. And we're going to get to Hollywood Unlocked. We're going to get to the tea and the drama, but I'm just curious, and maybe, a lot of people watching or listening don't know your life before Hollywood Unlocked. And there's more that you've done outside of just that as well. The brand and the website and the social media. You've also done Wild and Out with Nick Cannon, and you've done Love and Hip Hop. But before all of that, like 10 years ago, what were you doing professionally?
10 years ago, I was the staff director for SEIU, UHWS, which is a labor union. So I used to represent healthcare workers for Kaiser Permanente. I did all the political lobbying, organizing, arbitration, panel management, all of that stuff. So I just was an advocate for employees in the healthcare industry.
And how long did you do that for, or in that industry? Yeah. What prompted you to say, hey, I want to get into the entertainment space?
I started seeing it's funny because, we've developed our relationship over the years, and I looked at what you were doing, right? You were talking your shit, but then you had your relationships with people. I had my relationships with celebrities already, but I wasn't talking my shit or making money, although I had opinions and all of that. And I was a fan of pop culture and I was a fan of celebrity culture, but I was too afraid to do what you did and step out. And because really, when you own your own business, you eat what you kill. And I was terrified at the idea that I wouldn't have a check every Friday. So that's what kept me away from trying to do it. And then once I was forced out and I kind of found myself in LA, and I think, like you said, a lot of the young people, the influencers, they get out here, they do their photos or videos or social media, and they think that's what life is. They don't really understand the business or operationalizing on the back end. But I had all those skills from the union. So once I started saying, okay, it's cool that I'm hanging out with people and it's cool that I can get in all these parties, but how do I make this make money so that way while I'm having fun, I'm making money too? And then how do I transition out of the mind of a union worker where it's never about me and always about the work, and now figure out how to make me the brand and make it all about me and what I'm doing. So that transition was difficult, but once I figured it out through making lots of mistakes, the shit was just, it was out of here.
And what year was that you launched Hollywood Unlocked?
That was 2015.
2015. And what year or years were you on Love and Hip Hop?
That was 2015 and 16. I think I went back, I can't remember, it's 15, 16, and I went back. Was it 15, 16? I can't remember now. I know one thing. I launched Hollywood Unlocked on the show. So it was 2015 and 16. I may even say 17. I left for a couple of years and then I went back and did one more season in 2018 and I was out.
So you were on the show before you even launched Hollywood Unlocked.
I was building Hollywood Unlocked while I was filming the show and talking about it as if it was a real company while I was filming the show.
That's smart.
And
how did you? Okay, so
the launch literally lined up with the premiere of the show.
Wow. So, being a blogger or doing what you do and I do may not be what everybody aspires to, but a lot of people probably dream of or fantasize about, oh, I could do reality television. That's easy. How did you even get on that show? Is it because you were friends with some of the cast members? How did that come to be?
Well, I knew the cast members, but I was in a relationship at the time. And I think that was the thing that was holding me back, because to do this, you have to be completely selfless to start it. I mean, you can't have, at the time, I couldn't have a relationship. My relationship was ending. I knew Mona Scott Young. We had developed a friendship. And
she's the executive producer and creator.
And so I knew all the people in the show. And I was like, yo, well, if I'm going to launch Hollywood Unlocked, then their business is going to be my actual business. So let me call her and tell her I'll come on the show and make their business my business. And I'll just say how I mean it and just tell the truth and, tell the truth as I see it. And all these people who have these fabulous lives. Let
me get this straight. So you just, I love that. You reached out to her and said, put me on the show.
Now,
that's one of the things I've done historically throughout my career. There have been periods where I've not had agents and I've had agents, or I've had managers or I've not had managers, and they're mostly good or not. But a lot of the opportunity, I won't say most, a lot of the opportunities in my career have happened because I made them happen. I created them. So I love that you did that. The power of the ask. The worst that somebody could say is no. And I think I remember you telling me once, so you launched Hollywood Unlocked, you were doing Love and Hip Hop. You reached out to Nick Cannon and said, I want to be on Wild and Out. And it was as simple as that.
No, so I get on Love and Hip Hop, then I don't like how they edit me. That's before I knew what Final Cut approval was. And I was like, okay, I don't like that shit. So I launched my own podcast, and then I brought Nick on as a guest. And then during the interview, I was like, yo, I'm not going back to this show, but I'm a star. I need to be on your show. And he's like, do you rap? I was like, no. He was like, are you a comic? I'm like, no, but I know how to talk shit and it's funny. And then he goes, done. And I thought he was bullshitting for the show. So I go to Hawaii and I do this because I'm planning this interview with Jennifer Lewis. And I'm like reading her book, and she talks about how she went out, manifested her blessings. And I remember Oprah said that for Color Purple. So I go outside on the balcony. I'm like, all right, God, this shit feels weird, but like, can you give me a job? Like, I deserve to be on TV. I worked hard. And then I literally came home, and Nick Cannon was the only message I had. He gave me 5 seasons on the show.
Wow, 5 seasons. Wow, amazing. I just did a movie, a little cameo in this movie that Justina Valentine has put together, a Christmas film. So I'm trying to manifest more acting. I want that in my future. But
you've done, I mean, listen, I will never forget one of the things that you did that I think inspired me to do a lot of the, well, first of all, everything you've done, we all have followed it. But I mean, the one thing, your birthday parties became so iconic. And I remember trying to sneak in one of your parties. I wasn't successful. But I remember I'm like, yo, like, I want to have parties where I can have these over the top guests and this crazy production. And then I didn't even understand like the monetary part of it all, like brand partnerships and sponsorships and people want to buy tables and all that. But like, I really look at everything you've done is like the template for like a lot of us to come. And that's why I always, no matter what room I'm in, they're always trying to pit us against each other. Like they always want us to fight. I'm like, let me tell you something. One thing that I'm never going to do, well, first of all, I don't start fights, but second of all, I'm never going to disrespect the people who have created the idea that what we're doing is possible. And I think there's this new wave of people who come in wanting to be disrespectful. And I'm like, yo, you're not going to get far with that shit, because this is a community that needs each other. But like, if you want to be the Beyonce of this shit, you got to wait till all the other Beyoncés die.
What are your thoughts on, somebody who's been making a lot of headlines this year, that Tasha K, who's spilling the tea mainly just on YouTube? Maybe you have some information that I don't know. So for everybody watching and listening, back a few years ago, this Tasha K vlogger made some false claims about Cardi B that she knew were false. Okay. In the past, have I reported things that ended up being untrue? Yes, but I never purposely made something up. And this woman, Tasha K, confessed in court that she purposefully made shit up to get views using Cardi B. What are your general thoughts on Tasha K and that whole situation?
Well, my general thought is I try not to think about her. She, I think she's very toxic. I call her Toxic K. I think she's toxic for the work that we do as credible people. You said something that is really, really important, because as you know, I reported something recently that didn't pan out to be fully true, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that. We're not going to get it right all the time, but we're not going to intentionally get it wrong for the sake of getting clout, because that then doesn't do anything but hurt your brand, tarnish your image, and then ultimately can create a problem for the space, right? Like, we have YouTube as part of our business model. Lawsuits like these can change terms and conditions that fuck up our money. And so two things have been happening. One, I've been denouncing Tasha K from the very beginning. She said I had HIV. She said that I was on crack and heroin when I was drunk on live with somebody during a BET thing. She said some of the craziest things, and I wanted to sue her. But then when I knew that Cardi was going to go the whole way, and Cardi's a friend of mine, I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit back and watch how this goes, because
I'm fascinated by that, because you mentioned you knew Cardi. Well, Cardi's your friend, and you knew she was going to go all the way. Cardi has the financial resources to go all the way. I've been sued in the past many times. It's part of, doing this business, but I try to, settle all of my lawsuits before they even end up in court. I'm shocked that this Tasha K woman, do you have any inside information? Did Cardi not give her the opportunity to settle out of court? Do you know that?
Cardi asked her several times to retract the statements, to delete the videos.
And that would have been enough for her.
That would have been enough for her, because all Cardi wanted was the truth. And I've talked to her, and I'm going to be doing an interview with her about it, because I said to her when she won, a lot of us need to be very clear. We're not going to change doing our jobs. We're not going to stop having an opinion about you because you want a lawsuit. We're not going to stop having opinions about anybody because you want a lawsuit. We're just going to make sure that our intentions are very clear on reporting our opinions on what you're doing, breaking news on what you're doing, what we find out about. But and as you know, people can sue you for anything. But the truth is that our intention is very clear, and we're supported by law in protecting the work that we do. And I think
but like you said, you could even if you're right, you could still get sued.
Of course. But to prevail is the important thing. And I think that, like, if you file frivolous lawsuits, there's consequences for that. My attorneys know, if you sue me for some shit that is a waste of our time, I'm going to file so you pay for that, and then I'm going after you when we're done.
So you mentioned Cardi, and she's a friend of yours. Over the years, I've had many celebrity friends that I knew before they were famous. So they weren't celebrities when I first met them. And then they ended up becoming huge superstars. And the dynamic of our relationship changed because they became such big stars and what I do for work. How do you handle that with the celebrities that you're friends with?
I've made it up in my mind that if I lose a friendship with somebody because I have a job they know about and do well, then that was a friendship that wasn't real from the beginning. There's friends I have that put out songs that I think suck. There are friends that put out movies that flop. I still support them and I don't throw it in their face when they flop. And so I'm very aware that I do know there are some people that are just out to use me because of who I am and what I do. And I know that. I have very few friends that I consider friends that are just good people by nature. We don't talk about the work all the time. It's just family or friends or what you're doing or inspiring, each other to be greater. And those people I tend to lean into. The rest, this week I had some phone calls come in where people were not happy with shit and I was on vacation. I was like, yo, I'm really not trying to hear it. And I'm this close to not giving a fuck. And you don't want me to go there. So like, you may want to just retract whatever the hell you just said, because I didn't even hear it all. I think that the people who respect me as Jason, I love, and those who are here for Hollywood Unlocked, I always see that because, when you post something they don't like, you start to get these weird calls and, it is what it is. I guess par for the course.
In my past, I've had some very public falling outs with people. One of whom I'm actually wearing her shirt right now. This is Lady Gaga. Have you had that happen yet?
You know what? I have not had you've had iconic falling outs with some of the biggest celebrities that you're in relationships with. But but that's, I think, because one, at the time, the space wasn't crowded. Your voice was the only voice. That's number one. And it was a big voice. You had traditional media that could make you look all polished up. And here comes Perez saying, not to mention your artwork is iconic. Yeah, but I mean, I've never had a big falling out. I will say that Cardi and I have not always agreed, not just on stuff I've written about her, but stuff that I've written about for other people. She's a big advocate for women. She'll call me and she'll be like, yo, I think you went too far. I think that was unfair. And she'll talk to me as a friend and wanted me to have compassion and see them as people, right? And I think that we've had conflict where, we've had to cuss each other out a couple of times to get off the phone, but we know underneath it all, we really love each other. And I mean, I love her. She's literally like a sister, So
you mentioned a few moments ago, you reported the death of Queen Elizabeth. And let me just tell you something. I was having not PTSD, but like major deja vu, because in I think 2007, I had impeccable sources that told me that Fidel Castro died. And you know what, motherfuckers? I really do think he died back then, okay? Because the Cuban government lies. I don't know if he was ever really seen in public after that. So yeah, that happened. And, we kind of already touched on it. It was a mistake. It's not like you sat out there to purposefully do this to get attention. You got information that was credible, that was wrong.
Yeah, listen, when I saw that we had this schedule, first of all, it was an honor to be here because I love what you've built in your audience and all that. When I saw that I was scheduled to be here and then the Queen died, allegedly, I was like, I told my PR team, you know what? I don't want to do no press because you've been through it. So there's nobody that knows.
Oh, no. I would have told you, do all the press. Do it all.
I know, but here's the deal, right? I pride myself in getting it right. And so I won't lie and say that from what I've built, I felt bad personally because I wasn't looking at the business because I felt bad, like, man, maybe we got this wrong. Let me be very clear. I don't think we've seen her yet. There's a picture that surfaced of her and Justin, the Trudeau guy, but I don't know. Let me tell you this though. When I saw that me and you had this schedule, right? I remember the Fidel Castro thing, and I was like, yo, he understands what I'm going through personally. He understands what I'm going through as a business. He understands what I'm going through public image wise. And ultimately, fuck it. I'm going to be okay because I'm not doing it intentionally like Toxic K. I literally, if I tell you the source, you'll be like, yo, there's no way that source got it wrong. But in this instance, they did,
Yeah, that's exactly how my Fidel Castro story came to be. I had impeccable sources in Miami who were plugged in. Anyways, that happened. It happened. somehow over the last few months, you become like Kanye West's gay best friend. How did that happen? I'm sure you've known him in the past, but how did you become BFFs with Kanye?
No, I mean, I've known him by way of just kind of being around. I knew Chris at the time. I took Cardi to the house, as I've talked about on my show, introduced her to Chris and Kim, and then Kanye was there. We had a great conversation about everything from politics to fashion to money to deals to image to social media. And I've always thought of him as a genius. And when it comes to our culture, I think he represents many things. I think he represents passion and the rise of a star. I think he represents going through emotional trauma and loss and maybe not dealing with it the most healthiest way or the only way he knew how. I did that in my book with my brother dying. I've been able, and I think when it comes to Kanye, I think your opinion of him is going to be based on proximity. Just like somebody's opinion of me may be different than your opinion of me. My opinion of you may be different than other people because proximity kind of changes things. One thing I will say is that, to be very clear, I'm not drunk on Kanye. I'm not drunk on celebrity. That doesn't mystify when I see things that I disagree with or conversations that we have privately about things. But I'll tell you, the one thing I will say getting to know him is he literally is an absolute genius. And I do think that in all of that, there's also a lot going on that he's working through that I don't know if a regular person working through would be given the same the lack of space to do that. When he posts or when he does things, it's very public. So
on purpose, he's doing it on social media.
Yeah, for sure. But like I'll give you an example with everything that's happening right now with the Easy video, right? I went to where
Pete Davidson is, depicted as like Kanye gets his head, and it's a cartoon.
So I went to the warehouse when he was doing the video because they were filming it. And when I got there, he met me at the door with the head in his arm. And he was in great space. He wasn't, punching the head or saying this is Pete, or it was, he was coming off the set. And I knew the controversy that was going to be created as a result of it. But here's the part that's challenging to me. Everybody is mad at him online, press-wise, but Pete Davidson finds it hilarious and is laughing about it and is saying it's laughable, but yet everybody's still mad. And so there's many conversations going on for me in my head with...
Well, they're mad because of all of the things collectively that he's been doing. Even things like Kim Kardashian has told him, yo, don't put our private text messages on blast, and he's literally shared screen grabs on his Instagram of their private text messages.
But she's also shared updates on their custody battle or their marriage issues in court.
No, she hasn't.
She hasn't shared the direct messages, but she shared their conversations or her opinions about actions he's taken in court or actions that he's doing. She's used her social media.
I don't think I've seen her do that on social media.
Let me say she has, but let me say this. I'm not here to defend Kanye because he's a grown-ass man. I'm just saying my opinion from the outside, and kind of next to it is I feel like the Kardashians do a great job, as you know, managing the press their way. He's doing his way of managing.
Well, his way has become very Kardashian.
It's very similar. He said they may be the Illuminati, he's the Numinati. He's doing it in your face. He's not doing it behind your back. And I respect that.
One other thing that we have in common, there was a period of time there, I would say a challenging period for you, where Instagram banned you, and then you were able to get your Instagram account back. How did you do that? Because I got banned from TikTok and I've not been able to get my TikTok account back.
Well, I can introduce you to somebody at TikTok. Let me say that when my Instagram went down, there were fans of my Instagram account who worked at Instagram. And I was at the Rock Nation brunch, and one of them, she's no longer there. She's over at Clubhouse now. She walked up to me and she said, "Hey, I really respect what you do. Your account will be active in like 4 days, and I'm gonna verify you." And I was like, I was like, oh my God, and this was like while I was getting ready to chase Beyonce around the brunch. So when we exchanged information, 4 days later, I came back to life and then got verified and then became managed over there. And then ultimately became a media partner where I have my own portal where I help people who have problems with Instagram or, people who are driving culture who need to be verified, stuff like that. So once I did that and built that at Instagram and Facebook, I was like, yo, I need to have this type of relationship with every social platform from TikTok to Clubhouse, YouTube, because I get in some shit and I just need to be able to keep my thing going. Like right now, we're still shadow banned. We'll be shadow banned for like 2 or 3 more days because, we kind of killed the queen, but it'll be fixed in a couple of days.
Well, TikTok, if you're watching, it's been over a year now. Come on. All right. Final words. You've been doing this close for a decade now. 2 things. One, and I'll start with the first one. Do you have any regrets outside of the Queen Elizabeth moment?
No, I don't regret the queen either because
okay.
Because all the mistakes are going to sharpen my tools. And I proved to be a person who I haven't outed my source. I ain't gonna lie, I'm thinking about it, but I'm not gonna out my source because I'm just a loyal person and I'm a writer. So ultimately it's been a test of that loyalty. So no, I don't have any regrets. However, I do have a new book that I'm working on called How I Stopped Giving a Fuck and Started Winning. And all of the shit I've ever been through will be in that book. So I have to check to see how I'm gonna get sued when I put people's names in that. So no regrets, nope.
And then in the almost 10 years that you've been doing this, what would you say, to anybody who might want to aspire to do, not even exactly what you're doing, but just be entrepreneurial? What is like one important lesson that you've learned over the last 8+ years?
Get rid of the fear and do it. Just do it. Just do it. And don't think you have to be perfect in doing it. The perfection comes out of all the mistakes along the way. And don't think the space is too crowded because there's room for everybody and you don't have to steal from nobody's plate to eat, to make your own, and honor the people that came before you and invest in building relationships with those people because it's a lot easier once you build partnerships and communities. So yeah.
I'll give you my advice to you. One big mistake that I made, hopefully you are not doing the same. And if you are, it's not too late to change course.
Got it.
I did not have a business background, I went to school for acting and then I lucked into everything. But I grew up hearing this mantra, right? Like if you're a business owner and you're making a lot of money, invest it back into your business, invest it back into your business. My advice to you would be do not. Or if you do, don't invest it all back into your business. That's the mistake I made. I was putting almost all of it back into my business and not saving enough. So hopefully the importance of saving money, I cannot stress that enough for you. Save, invest, save, diversify, all of that. And that might save you some heartache in the future.
I received that. I am building Hollywood Unlocked to sell. I mean, it is a build to sell business for me. I don't want to be doing it forever. I've given myself, 5 to 7 more years is really what I want to do. But yeah, I mean, I'm not looking to pour everything into it forever. I will say starting out, I had to pour everything into it to
of course, yeah,
alleviate taking a bunch of money that would have diluted me to where I didn't even own it or control it. And so I've been very fortunate to do the right thing. I keep getting offers for money and, I'm not giving up control. I'm not giving up real equity in my business. I own 97% of it. I'm going to keep growing this thing. And then, ultimately when I am ready to sell, I sell to the right partner. Maker Studios sold to Disney for like $650 million. And that was a shit deal because the company was like a shell of a company. I'm looking for somebody to buy a real company like that, but with that kind of
Well, hopefully you'll get that and continued success to you. Thank you for joining us today, and I appreciate you.
Anytime. I appreciate you too.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. And that was my chat with Jason Lee. Another episode down. Thank you all for watching and listening.
Listening first.
Yeah. If you have a question, I don't think we've given our number out yet. 800-721-1185. That's 800-721-1185. A reminder, please, if you made it to the end, you're a VIP member of our podcast. always try and listen on Apple Podcasts and listen the first 24 hours of release and share our link, perezpodcast.com. Have a great day, everybody. See ya. All right, thanks.